mostly terrorists. That's true.
No, it's not everybody. If you say mostly, so it's okay to kill.
Okay. If your argument was so strong, wouldn't you let me talk?
And going back to the margin of error argument, I mean, this is a system that makes mistakes, and it's basically taken all sort of moral responsibility out of the equation when it comes to killing people, when it comes to making the distinction. Is this person a civilian, a terrorist, or a combatant? And computers have always been known to make mistakes. AI is no exception.
One of the problems with AI is that it can sometimes hallucinate. And that these hallucinations can get embedded into the reports, and they can go. And so, you know, what LLMs is to check it, and you have to have adversarial testing of the data to make sure that the data that's coming in is actually really good. It is. I know that there has been some casualties within the Iranian and Israeli war, where some imprecise munitions were used against a girl's school, and you know, the arguments being made is that they need to have better AI for better targeting. That goes to the importance of updating information. You know, artificial intelligence is only as good as the information that's being fed. And the information that's being fed in is garbage, and so are the decisions. And so it appears that's what we've got here with this Iranian school.
So in terms of effectiveness of technologies like this, I mean, it sure is effective at killing, but do we know if it's killing the right targets? I mean, that sort of statistical information hasn't really come out yet for us to get a good understanding of whether this technology is effective or not in terms of killing the right people, or quote unquote right people, right? And this has led to a lot of humanitarian organizations also saying that this sort of technology is leading to war crimes in various battlefields around the world. So we'll have to see how this theme of AI-powered militaries in the West continues to develop. All right. Who said?
Huge career, a performing artist. When you look back at all those years, struggling, making it, and you know now a great artist, what does that feel?
I feel chosen. I'm like, this is not a coincidence. There is no way that I can be the only female artist to make it all these years just by myself. I'm crazy yet, like I'm still over, I'm still standing. You know, I feel like God has a plan for me, and it's not just about me. It's about every random female artist, not only just musician, but artists at large. So I feel like responsibility, and that's the reason for me to wake up every day and try to be better.
Is the next album going to be named Chosen? That gives you a idea.
That would be a thing. That's a good idea.
You should put credits there.
Yeah, but it's another name that's close to that.
Ooh, that's great.
It's a represent Rwanda in different. One of the biggest stages that you have been, you are the only Rwandan lady artist to actually be on those stages.
Yeah.
Take us through that. How was it? How do you feel about being the one Rwandan lady artist to be on that stage? I'll not say the name of the stage, you're going to spin it for us. Okay, actually there are many stages that but I just feel it's the same answer. It's not about myself, because I'm not special, like I'm not over anybody else. I just work like everybody else. So the reason why the opportunities keep coming my way means that, you know, God chose to represent, so I take it for granted. Yeah. When you say that God chose me, and according to different these YouTube videos that we have seen, a lot of people be like, oh, she started in the choir, in the band, and now she's, you know, singing solo and seeing you dance like this, and you've been dancing in this song. Some people in the comments, I want to be like, oh, it's so far from God. Yeah. There's something that you always say. What is that? Like, how do you correlate this together?
Okay, it depends on how you take God, because it's different from how
I take religion. I think religion is something that's very from God. And I think they be addressing actually religion, not God. If you see me, if you live with me, if you see who I am, my personality, you'll still see the God that I want to show. So I don't feel far from God. And what I always care about is what I think I come first and everybody else comes last.
We have gone down memory lane, and you have some songs, most of them that tell a story, and it's just you've kind of touched or tapped into various genres, and it's hard to ask an artist this, but what is your favorite baby that you've created? But also, what is world creatively that maybe tested you, but it was inspiring to create, and also something that you're like, oh yeah, this is actually what music is about. You could give one, you could give examples.
That's an amazing question. You guys keep those questions coming. They're helping me to reflect also on my journey.
Yeah.
So since nobody has ever asked me that question, I think okay, everybody is like, what's your favorite song? That's a hard question.
That's a hard question,
But
those are babies.
you said it in a very good way. Like, which one do you remember most?
Yes.
Challenged me creatively, and I think it's a song called Lioness. That I featured ladies from Hombo. They're called Hombo. It's on my debut album, And that song, like, I wanted to experiment something that I've never heard before. I wanted to put everything that I am in one box. Like, I started in a choir. I later on went to jazz and blues. I'm Randy. I'm a woman. So I wanted to mix everything in one song. And if you listen to it, it has all those aspects. And I feel like it challenged me, both mentally and physically, because it was hard for me to access the ladies. Taking buses, the financial problems, or taking a plane, flying to Rusizi or to Hombo, or taking a bus, going to see them. I am a public figure, sitting in a public bus, so I didn't have a car. The mixing and mastering was a problem. The producers were not friendly and everything. Oh my God. Remembering that, it has really tested me. But I'm so grateful that it has come out in a beautiful way. And I'm really grateful that it's actually a timeless song because most people don't know it. So I love it when
to promote this link, which is really one of the most important stabilizers in the region and in the world. I will shift to Russian after your next question.
À la fois pionnier, majeur, important, comme Germaine Cash, chef de file de la Société des artistes antillais, ou encore Mayotte Almadi. Alors, elle n'est pas peintre, mais elle a été
in Rwanda is male dominated, so there is a bunch of things that you've had to deal with. As well as even just deciding to be this person that you are now. What happened? How did you get here?
Is that a book?
You need to write a book.
By the way,
Next memoir.
I have a book.
For
the album.
Okay. I heard it here first.
Live on KCC.
In
integrational frameworks in South Asia, including India. Naturally, there's the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, post-Soviet cooperation associations, Eurasian Economic Union, the CIS, and CSTO as well. However, there is no single umbrella association. It doesn't need to be an organization, but some kind of forum where all of Eurasia could talk to each other clearly. It is not yet in place. It can be largely explained by the fact that Europe still maintains its colonial and neo-colonial mentality. It wants to dictate its own habits and order. The EU and NATO are trying to expand their hands over all of Eurasian territory. They are starting already to say that NATO is concerned about what's happening in South Chinese Sea and in the Strait of Taiwan and Southeast Asia and Northeast Asia. I think that countries with ancient history, great civilizations, who have preserved each other until our time and that continue to develop, they should become cognizant of their own responsibility at some point. That this Eurasianness, to translate from colonial times and neo-colonial times into partnership, mutual understanding, moving towards the stage of overcoming differences in status that some of our Western colleagues are still very attached to, moving to the stage of inter-civilizational dialogue, mutual dialogue. I think that Russia, India, and China could play a special role in that area. But going back to your question, what India could reach by 2047. Primarily, it will depend on the Indian nation and the focus of the Indian leadership. And since Narendra Modi is so focused on that, in the early stages when 2047 was not yet the goal, Prime Minister Modi introduced the concept of Make in India. I think that we, Russia, were possibly the first country who did not just consider, and this concept in our practical steps in the sphere of cooperating with India. Way before that, we started producing BrahMos cruise missiles, before Make in India became the official motto and the practical demand for partners of India. India is growing exponentially. Its GDP is 7% per year, and certainly India needs energy to Minister asked to save energy given the crisis that erupted in the Persian Gulf, in the Strait of Hormuz, after the U.S. and Israel's aggression against Iraq. However, Russia has always lived up to its commitments before India and others in terms of energy supplies. And certainly our flagship project today is the Kudankulam MPP, and it ensures it meets a significant part of energy needs of India. We continue to build new energy units of this nuclear power plant, and still India needs more. We continue to supply our hydrocarbons, gas, oil, and coal. And besides traditional energy, we are working on energy with the Indians. And given the scale of the Indian growth, everything will come in handy. I believe that this is a smart policy to ensure such energy capabilities that would be credible for the years to come, for many years to come. Let me reiterate that Russia is a credible energy supplier. We value this reputation, and we have never violated our commitments. Certainly, I've mentioned military and technical cooperation. India's defense capabilities in the area of our cooperation, where we practically have no secrets from our Indian friends. I've mentioned when India became independent. For many years, the West did not want to interact with India on this track. When it started showing interest in weapon supplies to India, it always did it, taking into account its secrets. But we virtually have no secrets with our Indian colleagues.
When sanctions hit Rosneft and Lukoil, shaped you?
Also, her inspiring the next generation.
Yes.
What she did.
Yes.
Okay. So this question differs according to the time. If you ask it again tomorrow, I might give you a different answer because I get better every day. Just like
True.
So when I was young, I used to feel like it was something so amazing to be raised by a single mother. Don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining about my life. I'm actually grateful that God chose me.
Again, God chose me.
To be raised by a single mother, but I wouldn't recommend it to mothers. If you're able to raise your child, you can raise him or her with their father. Like a child needs both parents. Because I grew up feeling so independent, so like a man, so responsible and everything. Then the more I try to get better, the more books I read, the more podcasts I listen to, I discovered that I'm actually, it's trauma. Like, I have trauma, not feeling like I don't need a man. Like, you do.
You do, girl. Yeah.
You do.
Yeah.
You do. Stop lying to yourself. Also,
I like that. I do love that because it also shifts the mindset from normalizing people leaving people and just like putting everything on the woman. Like you have to be responsible and stay as a man. So I love that.
Amazing. Well, now you.
Hear the song first.
No.
What it's about.
I wanted to hear this.
Let's give her the choice.
Okay.
Well, what should we do first?
The floor is yours.
I think we should hear the song first.
Yeah.
No.
Strait of Hormuz in mind, but also the provision of satellite imagery to the Iranians by the Chinese as well. Now, Trump, before he left, said that China had been acting well during the war and hadn't lashed out, despite the fact that oil exports from Iran to China had effectively been cut off because of that blockade that the U.S. has. But an official from the White House also threatened sanctions on Chinese intelligence firms and satellite companies in connection to the war as well. One area that the US is trying to kind of stay mum on, but the Chinese want a significant change on, is Taiwan. Now, we are expecting no change in the stance from the US, but China sees it as at the very core of its core interests, in the words of one foreign ministry spokesperson a couple of days ago. So Xi Jinping likely to focus on getting President Trump to slow or even reduce the approval of the sale of weapons to Taiwan. Just last year, there was $11 billion in arms that the Trump administration approved, and there's another $14 billion that the Trump administration has been slow walking. But as you know, Trump is a very transactional president, so watch that space closely for any movement. But trade is what the Americans say they are mainly going there for. Donald Trump is bringing a suite of CEOs in, from Elon Musk to the leaders of Apple, Nvidia, and more. And there's going to be announcements of deals over Boeing jets, as well as the sale of American beef and pork to the Chinese as well. Also in the tech sector, AI. The US has concerns about the capabilities of the latest models of AI, and they're looking to have channels of deconfliction, in the words of one White House official, and to see where that goes. And lastly, the US looking to talk about nuclear arms controls as well. Donald Trump likely to raise the issue, but China isn't interested in talking about that, really.
Brandon.
The commitments that we have in our relations with our partners, it doesn't matter whether we're talking about friendly or non-friendly countries. If we reached an agreement, it's in the Russian tradition to live up to arrangements. In the West, they have different traditions. They like to cancel history, to cancel agreements, to come up with some excuses to once again live at the expense of others, to punish, and punish. Europe is a home of colonialism, and it has lost its ability. And now these abilities are shown by the United States. They put Europe into dire crisis food-wise. Probably Europe will be the one to be affected most from the crisis in the Strait of Hormuz, let alone the fact that the ban to buy Russian oil and gas means that they will need to switch to U.S. supplies of LNG, which comes at a higher. Therefore, the Europeans will have another brunt in addition to the hundreds of billions of euros sent by Europe to Ukraine, so that Ukraine can continue this European aggression against our country. They so zealously defend that their cause is right, and they say that Ukraine will be victorious and Russia will have a strategic defeat, and they are so joyful of the funding in providing 90 billion euros. I am curious to know whether they provide the statistics to the European Parliament, namely how pricey it is for Europe to buy energy that they will get from other sources instead of cheap Russian oil and gas. I can that India's interests when it comes to Russian supplies, they will not be affected, and we will do our utmost to ensure that this unfair play, unfair competition could not affect our arrangements.
Any leadership bid on her part would be complicated by an ongoing investigation into her affairs by the UK tax authority. In a statement on Sunday, she said she supported Andy Burnham's bid to run as an MP, so it looks as if she's setting aside her personal ambitions for now. But Keir Starmer shows no signs of stepping down, and under Labour Party rules, 81 MPs would have to publicly back a single challenger candidate to force a leadership election.
Real Madrid president called for election will stand again.
Talking there, and it's got underway. All eyes, of course, as well on the prizes and the top. It is the most coveted and rather beautiful itself as a work of art. How is it made, James?
Sequins, the glitter, and the film stars on the red carpet is the centre home, which translates as the Golden Palm, is crafted in Switzerland, in the town of Mihan, on the outskirts of Geneva. Every year in the Chopin workshop, 70 hours of work are required to make the prize awarded on the last day of the Cannes Film Festival. It was redesigned by the jeweler's co-president, Caroline Schäufele, 29 years ago.
What we brought to it, which is very different from back then, is that the stem of the palm ends in a small heart shape, which is a little nod to cinema, the love of cinema, and also something of a Chopin hallmark. I design a lot of pieces of jewelry with hearts.
First, wax is injected into a mold, which is heated to 760 degrees. This will then be used as a base for a solid mold in which the gold is poured in. It's then washed and treated before being fine-tuned by hand. Made of 18-carat yellow gold, the 19 leaves are sculpted one by one and assembled onto the stem. A source of pride for the jewelers.
It's a long story, a bit of a love story, but it's been 29 years, so I think the festival belongs in together with Chopin in Cannes, and we grew with the festival. Also grew.
As a precautionary measure, 2 palms are provided to the festival every year in the event of an unfortunate incident.
Yeah, surely one of the most beautiful.
With our economy, I was like, since I cannot look as expensive as I would like to look, I'm gonna make my body expensive. That is not affordable.
The body is the art.
Let's put that on. I'm like, every time I'm in the gym, every time I'm working out, I am making my outfit. Yeah. If my body is tea, and everything is will be tea. Nice. So that's the only expensive thing I can afford right now.
Yeah, I love that. So this has been amazing. And before we end up or wind up with this song, this brand new.
Years by the West, led by the U.S., namely a dialogue between consumers and suppliers of energy. And this dialogue has been developing, including within G20. Incidentally, and efforts, OPEC Plus always took into account the interest of consumers. There was a permanent trust-based dialogue with them. And currently, this is all dismantled only for the fact that only one would be in charge of these markets. Well, at least the current administration of Donald Trump are speaking frankly about that, and all countries should draw their own conclusions. As for the way it would be perceived by the global economy, even now it is said that if the conflict stops right now till 2026, the market would barely bounce back, and if it can rise even further away.
Drones, missiles, jets, S-400 systems were in play.
Keir Starmer held a meeting with U.S. News update and headline. King Charles III outlined umbrella PM Starmer's next legislative plan in Palm Street. Prince Kate Middleton in Italy, her first official visit abroad in over 3 years. Football, Real Madrid President Florentino Perez called club election will stand again. News update and headlines. News update and headlines on the 30th of May 2026. Chinese Foreign Minister urged Pakistan to step up mediation in Middle East. Strait of Hormuz. UK sends drones, jets, and warships to join defensive mission securing Strait of Hormuz. Kuwait. Iran says Kuwaitis claim it attempted to infiltrate Ireland are baseless. Energy. Nation drawn down oil stocks at record pace. Israel-Lebanon. Israel strikes kill at least 8 people south of Beirut, Lebanon Health Ministry announced. Israel-Lebanon. Lebanon say 13 killed Israel strike in south of Lebanon. Iran execute man accused of spying for Israel, Mizan news agency announced. News updates and headlines. News updates and headlines. News updates.
Again, another time. You guys have been.
News updates and headlines.
You guys have been so fairy tales, like I'm in heaven. Not Christian being like, okay, not scaring me. Yeah, because I didn't be let's some drama. Yeah.
So and they can find. Alisa, no?
So I never felt that family connection. Today, when my mother talks about what she experienced, it really moves me.
Memories are passed down by word of mouth. Hong's grandson grew up on the island, yet his school...
Now at the ministerial meeting in New Delhi, if the chair proposed to come back to the topic without emotions, but rather in essence focusing on the initial causes of what's happening, we would support such action. And I'd like to repeat myself once again. It's important to keep in mind, always to keep in mind, the primary causes. We see the West, the way the West disregards the primary root causes. We've seen that during the Ukrainian crisis. The West organized the coup d'etat in 2014, and that sabotage, the agreement reached the day before, which was guaranteed by the European Union. And that agreement was thrown away by organizing the coup d'etat. It was bloodshed. All citizens of Crimea and Donbass who did not agree with the coup d'etat were declared terrorists, and the war was waged against them. Later, Crimea held a referendum in 2014. The West said immediately that it was an annexation of Crimea, and that gave a start to the Ukrainian war. We started to explain that Crimea simply refused to live under the authority of those who used Western weapons with Western money to conduct a coup d'etat, but they don't want to listen to it. Just like now, in the UN Security Council, when we're discussing the situation in the Strait of Hormuz, the U.S. is saying that we need to condemn Iran, and we're saying, but Iran is responding to something. Let's outline the initial cause, that it was an unprovoked aggression against Iran. No, and they're trying to convince some Arab countries that this is the right logic, that these are two different. They say the war of the U.S. and Israel against Iran is just because they're destroying the nuclear bomb. Though such bomb is not in existence, first and foremost. Second, in June 25, President Trump already claimed that all nuclear materials of Iran had been destroyed. Now they're destroying them once again, that nuclear issue. And the other war is that Iran just woke up one morning and closed down the Strait of Hormuz. You know, in the Soviet Union, people would always whisper about how primitive Soviet propaganda was. But I believe that it was way ahead of what we're hearing right now from the Western ideologists who try to justify the atrocities happening right now. I believe that BRICS is quite a fitting association to launch such an initiative. So we'll see. You know, sometimes it seems the desire to move ahead smoothly dominates. And I'll share a secret with you without any details. But when preparing materials for the meetings of foreign ministers of BRICS, for example, usually all the global issues are listed, and the BRICS position is confirmed on the key crisis situations around the world. Recently, great resistance was when discussing a regular proposal to confirm the position of BRICS countries towards the two-state solution of the Palestine and Israel conflict. It had never been initiated before. I believe that it means that all of the efforts that are being taken right now on Venezuela, on Iran, Cuba, Greenland, now Canada, it was also mentioned as one of the upcoming issues on the agenda. All of these issues are moving us away from settling the longest, the most negative crisis in the world, that is, crisis around Palestine. Now we are all talking about creation of the state of Palestine. However, Israel said that there will never be a state of Palestine. President Trump launched its own initiative about the Gaza Strip, but not to create a state of Palestine there. He did not even mention the West Bank, but he wants to create a recreational zone, a casino, and entertainment. The idea of justice is not mentioned in the rhetoric anymore, despite the fact that all relevant UN verdicts are still there. Now we are going back to primary root causes. They want to forget all about them. They want to change the agenda and to shift into the areas where it would allow the Western concept of the development of the world in general, so that the whole world will remain dependent on Western concepts and Western energy, Western financial institutions. We never suggest to put any condemnations front and center in BRICS. However, BRICS is a positive alternative, and we need to cherish it, to foster it, and to strengthen it annually. Positive spread of our experience, our vision, and our practical actions.
In this case, I'm the bear. I'm the bear. Don't help me.
If we see the BRICS role in the crisis around Hormuz as simply to issue a statement, well, it's not what we mean. We mean BRICS as a form. While they represent two camps, so to speak, Iran and the United Arab Emirates, they both are very close strategic partners for us. For many years, they have promoted the concept of ensuring security and cooperation in the Gulf with participation of all Arab monarchies in the Gulf and with participation of Islamic Republic of Iran. I have no doubt that when these plans of unleashing aggression against Iran were being hatched, one of the goals was to prevent the normalization of relations between Iran and Arabs. In a wider context, I remember that many years ago, King Abdullah II of Jordan held a summit for reconciliation between Sunni and Shia, and now everything is being done to prevent this reconciliation so that Iran, one of the main Shia states, would be presented as a real outcast, while the rest, the neighbors of Iran in the Persian Gulf, would gather in associations that, first of all, would not be aimed at solving the issue of Palestine. At the price of normalizing relations with Israel, they would have to betray the cause of Palestine. I cannot say that we're following all of it very formally, and we think that the UN decision on Palestine be implemented only because it exists. I have no doubt that without the creation of the Palestine state, we will keep a hotbed of extremism many years to come, for decades. It will be a hotbed of tension that would bring suffering to everyone, to Israel, to its Arab neighbors, because Israel responds to extremism and terrorist actions disproportionately. It will be a perpetuum mobile, a constant irritant that will foster a critical situation in its hot phase for many decades. I think many understand that. Well, Israel wanted to use the support of the U.S. and decided to completely disregard the Palestine decision and to make something else of Palestine and resettle Palestinians to Indonesia, Somalia. Maybe they would offer India to take them in as well. We haven't been offered yet. We're going back to the time everything is solved. There is no international law recognized by anyone. President also said that he doesn't care about international law. We don't want to become antagonistic with anyone in promoting normal, mutually respectful relations within BRICS in order to find a balance of interests. I think this is a very alternative. It should not be viewed as an alternative, actually, just something that should be on our agenda.
India and China remain divided by border tensions. There was no face-to-face for some 5 long years until Kazan, hosted by President Putin.
News update and headlines. News update and headlines.
After the well-known conflict. To a major extent, these agreements have already been met already. I talked with my counterparts, Foreign Minister Jaishankar and Foreign Minister Wang Yi, and they confirmed that there is progress and that negotiations are ongoing. I believe that there will be another BRICS summit where the two leaders could also meet, and if the host of the summit could have a chance to have a bilateral with other participants, including the President of China, I believe that everyone would appreciate that. Earlier, I've mentioned R.I.P, Russia, India, China, an entity that was initiated by my great predecessors, Foreign Minister and Prime Minister Primako, as early as in 1998, I believe. And up until, well, there were 20 ministerial meetings within this format. However, within the last 5 years, there were no bilaterals or trilaterals. There was COVID pandemic, then a border conflict between India and China. I believe that it would only be logical to resume such ministerial meetings between Russia, India, and China. I remember that we had a very constructive dialogue within this format. Besides bilateral dialogue between New Delhi and Beijing, meetings within broader formats. RIC, SCO.
Take the rope, get the rope off. Flat rope. Someone get a lead on it. Yeah, we'll go on here.
Multiple reports, including reporting by The Atlantic, have alleged episodes of excessive drinking, unexplained absences, and behavior that concern current and former FBI and DOJ officials. You have publicly denied those allegations and filed a defamation lawsuit. Today, as you testify before Congress, is it your testimony that those allegations are categorically false?
Unequivocally, categorically false.
So there have been no occasions during your tenure when FBI personnel were unable to promptly reach you?
Absolutely not. You can ask my entire workforce. They hear from me at every single hour of the day, as do these great gentlemen here, as do the men and women of the interagency and state and local law enforcement and the White House.
And so there have been no occasions when your security detail had difficulty waking or locating you, is that right?
Nope, it's a total farce. I don't even know where you get this stuff, but it doesn't make it credible because you say so.
I'm not saying it, Director Patel. It's been written and documented.
You are literally saying it.
No, I'm saying that these are reports, Director Patel.
No,
and
unlike your baseless reports, the only person that was slinging margaritas in El Salvador on the taxpayer dollar with a convicted gangbanging rapist was you.
You know,
the only person that ran up a $7,000 bar tab in Washington, D.C. at the lobby park was you.
This
the only individual in this room that has been drinking on taxpayer dime during the day is you.
Director Patel, come on. These are serious allegations that were made against you. They're a lawsuit that you filed.
You drinking margaritas with a gangbanger is true and on video.
It just goes to show you
running a $7,000 bar tab at the lobby bar has been filed by your own office.
This goes to show
during the day. That's you. This is the ultimate example of hypocrisy. I will not be tarnished by baseless allegations and fraudulent statements from the media.
The fact that you mentioned that indicates you don't know what you are talking about. Now here, Director
The only thing I know is you're the one drinking margaritas with felons.
Actually, that's a false statement, and I'm asking you about your statements.
I've answered that.
And I'm asking you about a particular report. And
it's not a report.
Testimony. So let me ask you this. Are you willing to take the test, it's called the audit test, that members of our active duty military and others take to determine whether they have a drinking problem?
I'll take any test you're willing to take.
I will take it, Director Patel. I'll take it. You ready to take it?
Let's go.
Yes or no?
Let's go. Side by side.
I'll take it.
Guy, he's a friend of mine, he's a wonderful man, and he's going to be off, and the assistant, the deputy, is taking over temporarily until we find. Everybody wants that job. It's a very important job. Marty's a terrific guy, but he's going to go on and he's going to lead a good life. He was having some difficulties. You know, he's a great doctor. And he was having some difficulty, but he's going to go on and he's going to do well. We have, everybody wants that job. As you know, President Xi will be coming here toward the end of the year, so that'll be exciting too. I only wish we had the ballroom finished. The ballroom is right on budget and ahead of schedule, but I wish we had it finished. Now, you also may want to do one other thing. You may want to go see the reflecting pool, because that's under construction, and for the first time since 1922, it's going to work properly. As you know, President Xi might be. I don't think we need any help with Iran, to be honest with you. They're defeated militarily, and they'll either do the right thing or we'll finish the job. And as soon as the war is over, which will not be long, you're going to see oil prices drop, and you're going to see a stock market, which is already at the highest point in history, go through the roof. You're going to see the golden age of America, frankly, and you're seeing it now. So as soon as this is, don't forget, you have hundreds of ships that are loaded up with oil that want to come out. As soon as they come out, we're going to have a gusher of oil, and you're going to have inflation that goes way down. Now, with all of this, inflation is much lower than it was under Biden. Biden had the highest inflation in the history of our country. Inflation is nothing by comparison, but our inflation is just short term. Because if you go from just before the war, we were for the last 3 months 1.7%. And now what you have is as soon as this war is over, you're going to see inflation go down to probably 1.5%. And as soon as this
At what point are you done negotiating with Iran?
Well, we're going to see what happens. We're only making a good deal. We have their military is gone; it's wiped out, and we're only going to make a good deal. And we'll see what happens. But I believe that one way or the other, it's going to be very good for the American people, and I think actually very good for the Iranian people.
At what point are you done negotiating?
We had a choice. Let these lunatics have a nuclear weapon. If you want to do that, then you're a stupid person, and you happen to be. I mean, I know you very well. Anybody that wants them to have a nuclear weapon is a stupid person. We had a choice. Let these lunatics have a nuclear weapon. If you want to do that, then you're a stupid person, and you happen to be. I mean, I know you very well. Anybody that wants them to have a nuclear weapon is a stupid person.
What is your message to President Xi as it relates to the Iran war?
Well, I think number one, we're going to have a long talk about it. I think he's been relatively good, to be honest with you. You look at the blockade, no problem. They get a lot of their oil from that area. We've had no problem, and he's been a friend of mine. He's been somebody that we get along with. And I think you're going to see that good things are going to happen. This is going to be a very exciting trip. A lot of good things are going to happen.
What is... At what point are you done negotiating with Iran?
Well, we're going to see what happens. We're only making a good deal. We have their military's gone. It's wiped out. And we're only going to make a good deal. And we'll see what happens. But I believe that one way or the other, it's going to be very good for the American people, and I think actually very good for the Iranian people.
Are you reconsidering the Pakistanis as mediators?
No, they're great. What? I think they're great. I think the Pakistanis have been great. The Field Marshal and the Prime Minister of Pakistan have been absolutely great.
What is your message to President Xi as it relates to the Iran war?
Well, I think number one, we're going to have a long talk about it. I think he's been relatively good, to be honest with you. You look at the blockade, no problem. They get a lot of their oil from that area. We've had no problem, and he's been a friend of mine. He's been somebody that we get along with. And I think you're going to see that good things are going to But this is going to be a very exciting trip. A lot of good things are going to happen.
Do you think he needs to intervene at all with the Iranians?
I don't
Do you
think
think he can
does,
help
no.
in any way?
No, I don't think we need any help with Iran. We'll win it one way or the other. We'll win it. We'll win it peacefully or otherwise. Their Navy's gone. Their Air Force is gone. Every single element of their war machine is gone. They've killed a lot of people. They've killed 42,000 people at least over the last month and a half. We win.
Mr. President,
no matter how you cut it.
Mr. President, what do you believe? Do you believe, Mr. Kurdi, sir, Mr. President, do you believe your visit to China will impact of international economy and price of oil?
It's going to be a positive. We're going to have a very good meeting. I spoke with President Xi. We both look forward to the meeting. It's going to be great.
Mr. President,
Mr. President, what is going to be your red line to end the ceasefire for you? What will it take to pull the plug?
Well, we're going to see, and we'll be thinking about it on the flight, and we'll be thinking about it for the next little while. But we've beaten their military very soundly. That's over with. The blockade is very effective. It's been 100% effective. And one way or the other, it's going to work out very well. It's going to work out very well. I think you're going to have so much oil, you're going to have a gusher of oil like you've never had before. So when oil goes up a little bit, I thought it would go up much more. If you go back 3-4 months ago, when we were contemplating, we assumed oil would go much higher. Yesterday was at $99. And if you think about it, I would have taken that all day long because it's very simple. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. They will not have a nuclear weapon. They know that. They've agreed to that. And then that's not what they said to me when it came to pay. We don't play games. They're not going to have a nuclear weapon.
Mr. President, you promised to bring inflation down. It's now at its highest level in 3 years. Are your policies not working? What's happening?
Policies are working incredibly. If you go back to just before the war, for the last 3 months, inflation was at 1.7%. Now, we had a choice. Let these lunatics have a nuclear weapon. If you want to do that, then you're a stupid person, and you happen to be. I mean, I know you very well. Anybody that wants them to have a nuclear weapon is a stupid person. So we said we're going to take the greatest stock market in history, and we're going to go down a little bit, and actually that turned out to be incorrect because our stock market is now at the highest point in history, which frankly surprised a lot of people. It's a very simple message. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon, and they won't have a nuclear weapon, and that's 100%. Their Navy is gone, their Air Force is gone, their anti-aircraft is gone, their radar is gone, their leaders are gone. They're all gone. Iran will not have a nuclear weapon. We're going to do whatever is necessary, and as soon as this war is over, which will not be long, you're going to see oil prices drop, and you're going to see a stock market, which is already at the highest point in history, go through the roof. You're going to see the golden age of America, frankly, and you're seeing it now. So as soon as this is over, don't forget, you have hundreds of ships that are loaded up with oil that want to come out. As soon as they come out, we're going to have a gusher of oil, and you're going to have inflation that goes way down. With all of this, inflation is much lower than it was under Biden. Biden had the highest inflation in the history of our country. Inflation is nothing by comparison, but our inflation is just short term. Because if you go from just before the war, we were for the last 3 months 1.7%. And now what you have is as soon as this war is over, you're going to see inflation go down to probably not even a little bit. The only thing that matters when I'm talking about Iran, they can't have a nuclear weapon. I don't think about American financial situation. I don't think about anybody. I think about one thing. We cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon. That's all. That's the only thing that matters.
Will China invest $1 trillion in the U.S. or NATO?
Dan?
What is more broken, NATO or OPEC?
Well, OPEC is having some difficulty right now because one of those things, but that has nothing to do with me. NATO was very disappointing to me. NATO was not there when we wanted them. We don't need NATO. We don't need NATO. But if we did need them, they just weren't there.
To a deal with Iran?
He could. I mean, it might be. I don't think we need any help with Iran, to be honest with you. They're defeated militarily, and they'll either do the right thing or we'll finish the job. They're either going to do the right thing or we're just going to finish the job. All-time high, but including whether or not our stock market goes up or down a little bit, the most important thing by far is Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon.
What about the pressure on Americans and prices right now?
Every American understands.
Americans, how they're feeling about
every American. Are you listening to me? Every American understands, and they just had a poll, like 85%, which is surprising. It's only that they understand that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. If Iran has a nuclear weapon, the whole world would be in trouble because they happen to be crazy. They're not going to have a nuclear weapon. Now, if the stock market goes up or down a little bit, the American people understand. When it's over, you're going to have a massive drop in the price of oil, which a lot of people thought would be higher. And I mean, it was $99 yesterday, which is low, which is relatively low. When this war is over, oil is going to drop. The stock market's going to go through the roof. And truly, I think we're in the golden age right now. You're going to see a golden age like we've never seen before. The minute it's announced, and I'll be the one to announce it because I'm the one that makes that decision, I could leave right now, and it would take them 25 years to rebuild their country. But I don't want to do that. I want to have it complete and total. So you ready? As soon as this war is over, you're going to see numbers like you've never seen.
I know how much you value loyalty. I know how much you value loyalty. Are you comfortable with people serving in the military if they personally oppose the Iran war or you?
It doesn't mean I'm happy about it, but I live with a lot of different
on redistricting. To voters who are confused about the changing maps, the changing dates, and to African Americans concerned that this is going to draw black members of Congress off the map, what do you say?
Well, I think it's been a wonderful process. They've been the Democrats, or as I call the Democrats, because they are dumb in so many ways. They've redistricted for years, and now we took our shot, and it looks like we're going to pick up a seats, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing. We want voters to have their choice. We want fair voting. We want fair elections. The Democrats have been cheating on elections for many years, and all we're doing is winning. Thank you.
Excuse me, sir.
Perezida wa Leta Zunze Ubumwe za Amerika Donald Trump ijambo yagezaga ku banyamakuru mbere y'uko afata indege yerekeza i Beijing mu Bushinwa, aho agiye kugirana ibiganiro na Perezida Xi Jinping cyangwa chairman w'Ubushinwa Xi Jinping i Beijing. Mu byo yagarutseho akaba yagarutse ku ntambara ya Iran, avuga ko nta bufasha agiye gusaba Ubushinwa, ndetse avuga ko Ubushinwa bwitwaye neza kubera ko butabangamiye blockade yabo kubera ko bukurayo n'amavuta menshi. Agaruka ku matora, agaruka ku bibazo by'ibiciro biri kuzamuka, avuga ko aramutse abishatse n'aka kanya yahagarika intambara kandi Iran yayitsinze. Ati ndamutse mvuze ati nyivuyemo intambara yabirangiye kandi Iran kwiyubaka byazayifata imyaka igera kuri 20, gusa nshaka ko nyine itagira nuclear weapon. Ati kandi Iran nayo irabizi ko badashobora kugira ibitwaro kirimbuzi.